Have you ever wondered why the US dollar is so powerful? Why it's the currency everyone turns to in good times and bad? It's not just because of the size of the US economy. A huge part of the story goes back to a secret deal struck in 1974, a deal that reshaped the entire global financial system. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the Petrodollar Pact, the handshake that ensured the dollar's dominance for decades to come. Welcome to the Prime Archive. Let's rewind to the early 1970s. The world was in turmoil. President Nixon had just severed the dollar's link to gold, ending the Bretton Woods system that had stabilized global finance since World War II. Then came the 1973 oil crisis. OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, imposed an embargo on nations that supported Israel during the Yom Kippur War. Oil prices quadrupled overnight. Gas stations ran dry, economies sputtered, and panic set in. The United States was facing a double threat, a weakened dollar and an energy crisis that could bring the country to its knees. This is where the story takes a fascinating, almost cinematic turn. In July 1974, the newly appointed U.S. Treasury Secretary William Simon embarked on a secret diplomatic mission to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The mission was so clandestine that it was kept off official schedules. The goal was simple, yet audacious: convince the world's largest oil producer to price its oil exclusively in US dollars. In exchange, the US would offer military aid, weapons, and a guarantee of protection for the Saudi kingdom. Think about the stakes. If Saudi Arabia agreed, every country needing to buy oil, which was pretty much every country on Earth, would first need to buy US dollars. This would create a massive, permanent, and global demand for American currency. For Saudi Arabia, the deal offered security in a volatile region and a safe place to invest their newfound oil wealth. The Saudis would recycle their petrodollars by buying used treasury bonds, effectively lending money back to the United States. This would help finance America's government spending and keep US interest rates low. It was a perfect symbiotic loop. The negotiations were tense. The Saudis were cautious, but the American offer was too good to refuse. The deal was struck. By 1975, all of OPEC had followed Saudi Arabia's lead, agreeing to price their oil in US dollars. The petrodollar system was born. This wasn't just a financial agreement. It was a geopolitical masterstroke. It solidified the dollar's status as the world's primary reserve currency, replacing the gold standard with what some called the oil standard. The immediate effects were profound. The demand for dollars skyrocketed. Countries around the world began stockpiling US currency to ensure they could pay for their energy needs. This gave the United States an incredible advantage, often called exorbitant privilege. It could run large trade deficits, importing more than it exported because the world needed its currency to buy oil. It could also finance its national debt more easily, as countries like Saudi Arabia and later China used their dollar reserves to buy US government bonds. Essentially, the world was helping to fund America's lifestyle and government. This system also gave the US immense geopolitical leverage. Because most international trade, especially in oil, was conducted in dollars, the US could use its financial system as a powerful tool. By controlling access to the dollar system, Washington could impose sanctions on countries, effectively cutting them off from the global economy. This financial power became as important as military might in projecting American influence around the globe. For decades, the petrodollar system was the bedrock of the global economy, an arrangement so fundamental that most people never even thought about it. But in recent years, cracks have started to appear in this 50-year-old foundation. The world is changing. The rise of China as an economic superpower presents a direct challenge to American dominance. China is now the world's largest oil importer, and it's not entirely comfortable with a system that forces it to rely on its main geopolitical rival, its currency. We're seeing a slow but steady push for de-dollarization. Countries are exploring ways to trade in their own currencies. China has launched oil futures contracts priced in its own currency, the yuan. Russia, facing Western sanctions, has shifted its trade away from the dollar. Even traditional US allies like Saudi Arabia are now openly discussing the possibility of accepting other currencies for their oil sales. The recent decision not to renew the 50-year-old petrodollar security agreement with Saudi Arabia is a monumental signal that the old order is shifting. What does this mean for the future? A world without the petrodollar system would look very different. The US could lose its exorbitant privilege. It might become more difficult and expensive to finance its debt, potentially leading to higher inflation and interest rates at home. The dollar's value could decline, making imports more expensive for Americans. Geopolitically, America's ability to use financial sanctions as a weapon would be significantly weakened. We could be moving towards a multipolar currency world, where the dollar, the euro, and the yuan all compete for influence. This shift won't happen overnight. The dollar is still deeply embedded in the global financial system. But the trend is clear. The secret deal of 1974 created a world order that lasted half a century. Now, we are witnessing the slow, complex, and uncertain unraveling of that deal. The story of the petrodollar is a powerful reminder of how hidden agreements and strategic decisions can shape the world we live in. The next chapter of this story is being written right now, and its outcome will affect all of us. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into financial history interesting, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that explains the forces shaping our world. See you next time.